All right, guys, right now we're going to work on rounding to the hundredths. Notice that I have the number 476. Notice I have 1, 2, 3, 4 in the hundredths place. I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 7 tens. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in my ones place. All right, now, when we are rounding to the nearest hundred, we have to look at this tens place right here because the tens place is going to be the one that's going to give me some directions for the hundredths place. So I notice that there are 7 there. I'm going to put this down right here and I'm going to count out because remember, if this is 5 or greater, it tells my hundredths place to move up to the next 100. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then what I'm going to do with these place value blocks is I'm actually going to circle them in a group of 5 because I can. And that tells me that because this number is greater, it tells me that this is actually not closer to 400, but this is actually closer to 500. So notice that I would need to bump it up and round it to 500. Now, the really cool thing about this is I could even stick in something in my place values. What if I wanted to make 2,000 right here? Then that means that I would go ahead and build. There's 1,000, and here's 2,000. But if I'm rounding to the hundredths place, it isn't going to matter, is it? Because I'm only concentrating on these 3 places. And since 476 rounds to 500, I'll put it right there, that means that all of this rounds to 2,500. So when we're looking at the hundredths place, or when we're looking at 4 places and we want to round to the hundredths, we don't worry about that last place. We're only concentrating on the hundreds, tens, and ones. And remember, the tens is giving us direction on what to do with the hundredths. All right, next I have the number 135 that I want to round to the hundredths place. So notice I have 3 places, so ones, tens, hundredths. I'm rounding to the hundredths place, so that means that the tens place is going to be my helper, and it's going to tell me what I need to do in the hundredths place. Notice I have 1, 2, 3. Well, that doesn't make 5, does it? So if it is under 5, that tells me that my 1 needs to stay the same, which means this is going to round to 100. All right, and again, it wouldn't matter if I put 2,000 in front of it. I can put 2,000 blocks over here. I can build those. Here's 1,000. Here's 2,000. And if I wanted to round 2,135 to the nearest hundredths, it would just make it 2,100. Because this would not change. I am still rounding to the hundredths place. And I am using the tens as the one to tell me what I should do. And I didn't have 5 that I could group. So that means I need to stay down and just be closest to 100. Okay, I'm going to round 353 to the nearest 100. So notice here I have 1, 2, 3, 3 in my hundredths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in my tens, 50, and 3. But I want to round this to the hundredths place. So you remember that the tens has to tell the 100 what to do. I even like to say, well, this is the hundredths place, and this is my 10 telling me what to do. Remember our rule. If it is 5 or greater, then it tells the hundredths to move up to the next 100. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can circle 5 right here, which tells me I need to bump this up. So instead of 353, that is going to make it 400 because this tells it to bump up. And again, it doesn't matter how many thousands I have on the other side. I can put a 3,000 over here, and it's still going to be 3,400 because when I've got this number here and I add the 3,000 over on this side, here's 1, here's 2, and here is 3. It does not change the hundredths place. So when I'm talking about the hundredths, I'm only talking about those 3 spaces. But my answer needs to include the 3,000. So 3,353 rounds to 3,400. As a reminder, when we round to the nearest hundred, we have to count over 3 spaces: ones, tens, hundreds. And then we have to let the tens tell us whether the hundreds is closer to 100 or 200 or 300 or 400. It's going to give us directions on what to do because hundreds has 3 places in it. That's all for hundreds.